So today I'm talking to Phyllis, who helped co-write her book, Phyllis, the Invisible Child. And I thought it would be a great idea to catch up with her and see how she's getting on. So good day to you, Phyllis. How are you doing today?
Hi, Myrna. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good too.
Good. So I have a few questions for you. I thought it'd be great to catch up. And so tell us how life's been treating you lately.
Well, let's see. My grandchildren that I have custody of, my 3 grandchildren, one is turning 18 in a couple of days, like 13 days. One is turning 9, same day on February 2nd of 2024. And then that's February 2nd, the 2 of them will be 1 18, 1 9, and then 18 more days after that, the third one will be 10. So it's going to end up being 9, 10, and 18.
Quite the handful.
So yeah, but I feel kind of accomplished with the 18-year-old. I mean, she's doing well. She has a partner and she seems to be doing well. She has a boyfriend, and she's doing really, really great, and has grown up to be a very beautiful woman that's very compassionate and very empathetic towards people, like they say her nana is. So I'm good with that. A little bit of stress with the 9 and 10-year-old, who are very verbal. How could I say? They both have verbal diarrhea, but you can't give them a timeout because timeout doesn't work with FASD children.
Okay.
Thank God I have a doctor that I talk to every 2 weeks, and I upload to him, and he tells me, yeah, this is FASD, because he is a specialist with children with mental issues.
Is that the same one you were seeing before? The same counselor you were?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So
Yeah.
he's still seeing you regular.
Still in my life, and I video chat with him every 2 weeks for 1 hour.
Nice.
Yeah. And I did say to him, because his specialty is in children's PTSD and from childhood trauma and stuff like that. So I did say to him like 2 years ago, like, who's paying you to talk to me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking he was originally hired by my insurance when I had a car accident 5 years ago, but I'm like, and I asked him, I said, hey, doctor, I said, who's paying you? And he said, don't worry about it. He said,
it's pro bono.
Yeah, he just said, and he's very expensive. He's like, anywhere from 150 to 300 an hour. And he told me, he said, because of my childhood and what I went through, it's a study for him.
Oh, okay. Which is good. So he's getting something from it too. So that's nice. Like, but that's great that he keeps in touch, because I thought that you guys would have lost touch by now. It's been so long. So that's so good.
Yeah. And another thing was, he said to me one time, he said, a lot of people have left you or fallen by the wayside in your life. I won't be one of them.
Oh, that's amazing, because he's helping you with your grandchildren, and he's helping you to be part, and he's just being part of your life, which is nice, because like you say, there's lots of people that fall by the wayside. So, and people do, and that's how life is. But it's good that you got, like, he's
permanent thing. A permanent thing.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. Like, he's not just an ear either. He's not just a friend. He's actually a professional.
He tells me the truth, and you know what I mean, and listens to me,
right.
and
and that's amazing, and I think it's helping you a lot too. And so I was going to ask you, like, so when I interviewed you with the book and I met you first, I don't think you had much time with him as well.
No,
like you started
not at that
counseling.
time.
So like did talking to me help you to get it
Absolutely.
out there? Like to actually get it, because you didn't really talk about did you talk about your childhood much before you'd spoken to me, or was this kind of like the first time you'd actually been able to process it even? Or like I always find that if you say something out loud, it becomes more real, but it's easier to cope with. And did you find that me interviewing you helped that in that situation? Or
Absolutely, absolutely. I never went in depth as far as I did with you. There was a lot of things that I told you that I had never told anybody, right?
yeah.
Knowing that it was going to be in a book and it was going to help somebody. And I was ready for that. I was really ready for that. And you made it seem effortless. You really did. You made it seem like, hey, and I mean, when I read the book and I saw what you wrote and read what you wrote, I remember that moment in time. I remember the rest of my life. I bawled myself silly because I thought she was there. You really
Well,
seem to have been there, standing with me, taking notes. You know, it seemed like you were this one big, huge angel that was writing down notes. And you know what I mean? And this is okay, this is what's going on, and this is how she feels, and blah, 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 blah. And you were writing it down because it seemed like you were there. That's how much of a good writer you are to me.
oh,
You know what I mean? And I've had other people say the same thing. I've had my brother who read part of the book say, wow. I mean, my brother is very, very critical of everything because of his childhood, very cynical, very critical. And he said, I can't believe it. It sound it to me, the way she wrote it, it's as if she was there.
but you walked me through it though, Phyllis. Like
Yeah.
all I had to do was listen. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the thing, is I just listened and I tried to visualize as you told me what you'd experienced. I tried to visualize what you were going through and try and make it into, and I did like try and get into your shoes, because that's what I was trying to do, was write your story. So there's no point in me writing it from my point of view. I had to write
No.
it from your you, but I'm glad that that I could do that for you. I'm glad I did it correctly. I'd be sad if it hadn't worked out that way, So
Mm.
I am glad that I'm glad you like it, I guess.
Yeah,
Is the
yeah.
one
Or
like,
yeah,
and I'm glad that it helped you a lot. And I feel like
absolutely.
you are a different person now to the person I met you in the first place. I feel like you're more you're more focused on what you want to do. You make your decisions better, and you're in control of your life more. And
Mm-hmm.
not that you were like a crazy person or
No, no,
anything,
no, 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 no.
but I do feel like you've gone, since I've known you, your journey is, you've got to a better place. I feel like you
Mm-hmm.
have anyway. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I think you have come to a better place with all the help that you've got, and with your life as well. Seems to be better.
I'm very, even though my childhood was awful and I have PTSD from my childhood, even though through that, it's hard to understand that I would be very proud to hand somebody the book, which I was yesterday when I handed somebody the book. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
said, "Here's my book. It's on Amazon." You know what I mean? I'd always wanted it on Amazon, and here's my book. It's on Amazon, and like, uh, you know what I mean? And she said, "Do you want me to pay you for it?" And I said, "No, that's okay. It's all given to nonprofit anyway, so I'll just, you know what I mean?"
Hmm.
And somebody would say, "Well, how are you proud to share the book with somebody that goes so in depth into your childhood pain?" Well, I don't know how it is. I just know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that telling my story to you helped a lot. Having
Yeah.
you empathize with me as you did, and
Yeah.
I knew that your feelings towards me were real, and
Yeah.
knowing that you were empathizing with me made
Yeah.
me, like a
Mhm.
lot of people have said to me in my life, are you sure?
Yeah. Well, I never questioned what you said because you never changed your story.
Right.
So I always
Because it
knew
is
that
what it
what you
is.
were telling me was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I did actually, I'll be honest, I did go in the first time meeting you, I wasn't sure if I was going to carry
Yes.
on. I didn't know if it was going to be all truth or what. And then the more I spent time with you, the more I knew that everything you were telling me was very true, because it was
Mm-hmm.
you telling me the same, you were going over the same story, and you didn't deviate from the story. So that tells me that it's the truth, because it's harder to lie than it is
Yeah.
to tell the truth. So I knew certain that you were telling the truth. Plus, I could tell the way you were as well. So, and I didn't I didn't enjoy it, but I did enjoy the experience, and it helped me too, because it was it was good for me to talk to you, and I think we had a good experience with it
We
together.
did. We did.
But do you find that you ever resent your childhood? Like, do you ever get that resentment because of your childhood, or does it come up?
Uh, it does. It does, but it doesn't last. The feeling doesn't last long. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Mhm.
in my 20s, I would get that feeling from the PTSD. I would get the feeling of, hey, why me? Blah, blah, blah. And then I would have a couple of drinks, and then I'd have a couple of more drinks. And then I
Yeah.
would cry in my beer. You know what I mean? It was
Mm.
easy to bawl my eyes out once I was feeling no pain, so they say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now that I have been clean and sober for over 25 years, then when the feelings come now, especially since I've been 5 years with the same doctor, when the feelings come now, I'm able to say, okay, uh, don't even go there, because your childhood is going to be used someday for somebody to touch somebody to stop them from taking their life. And I have had people, since the book has come out and they've read the book, message me and say, up until the time I had read your book, I was thinking that I would be better if I was not here. I've gone
Good.
through so much, and I went through so much, and nobody understands what I went through, but I read your book and went, oh my God, somebody does understand. Somebody has been through the same thing, right?
Mhm.
And thank you so much for writing the book. I love you, and you helped me from taking my life, and that is why I wanted to write it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm so glad that you're getting feedback from people, because I don't see that side of it, because I leave that for you to deal with, because I like that part of it is for you to do. The whole
Mm-hmm.
point of the book was for you to have that platform so you could talk to people. And I'm so happy that it is actually fulfilling that part of like what you wanted from the book. So yeah, that's amazing that you're still getting people contacting you for it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that is amazing. And so you did work with victim services, didn't you, in the past?
Correct.
Is that something that you'd like to do again?
I had my badge for about 5.5 years, and I would absolutely do it again in a heartbeat. If I was physically capable of doing it and they
Right.
accepted me, I would do it in a heartbeat. I, you know what I mean? Like, the only problem is you sometimes have to go way upstairs, or you have to, do a lot of walking and blah, 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 and physically I'm not able to do that right now.
Right. So that's what's putting barriers up right now for you to be doing that kind of work. It's
Correct.
that you're just not physically able to do that.
Correct. You have to be in pretty good physical. They don't care your age, but they want you in pretty
Yeah.
physical. You know, you arrive at a victim's house and they're on the second floor. You know what I mean? And you have to go upstairs that are outside and in Canadian snow. You know what I mean? And they may not be shoveled or whatever. And you can't say, oh my God, I can't go up those stairs because they're not shoveled. You have to say, I got to get up those stairs. And in that house with that victim, they need victim services, right? So you need to be able to be physically fit enough to walk up the stairs and not worry about falling. And I'm worried about falling inside the house.
Yeah, I understand. So in an ideal world, what would you like to achieve? So if you had no financial or health issues, and you could do to do with the book as well, like, is there something that you would love to, like, what's your dream? What is your dream goal?
Start a website and a blog for foster children, that foster children from anywhere in the world can come and give their opinions and tell their story of what their foster care was like, good, bad, or otherwise, and be able to talk to each other, have a community for foster children, because once you age out of the system, you have no one. That's another gender of people that have spoke to me since the book came out, was foster children. And then I would love to do victim services and disadvantages of being home, right? And not in an office. Having an office would be nice.
Yeah.
That I could go into for a couple of hours, but let me get back to it. So victim services, I would love to do in an instant if I had the health, and it doesn't require money, just health. If I had the health and that, I would do victim services in a heartbeat. I would love to do something for God's kids of Chatham Kent. Mind you, I'm getting older, right? That was something I started 10 years ago, approximately, or thereabouts. And the thing of it is that I'm physically now 62 and a half. So, you know what I mean? And post accident of 5 years. So, but if there was no issues physically, I'd love to do that. I'd love to give the kids between the ages of 13 and 22 a place to go in Chatham where they could just go and play a game of pool or do some video games or something, you know what I mean? And get off the streets, and especially at this time of the year when it's cold, you know what I mean? And give them a hot bowl of soup. That was my dream. I really have a high respect for brother Andre from Montreal. He has or I don't know if he's still alive, but I'll say he had a minivan that he rode around the streets of Montreal giving out sandwiches and soup to anybody he saw. And I thought, that's wonderful. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
You know, give out soup and sandwiches to strangers. I know other people would say, I don't know, you don't know what to say to them, blah, blah, blah. God tells me what to say. I don't have to worry.
So, because of your health and that, what do you see you doing in the next 5 years? Like, have you got any idea of what you'd like to do in the next 5 years that you can do with your health the way it is? And if you can't achieve the goals that you were hoping for, is there like something that you're planning to do that you can do right now? Have you got, like, you said you're going to start your blog. So is that something that you're going to do soon?
Yeah, I'm going to start my blog, and a lot of people have asked me for a part 2 of the book. So that's totally up to you, but they've really, you know what I mean? I've had a lot of people say to me, well, what happened when you got to be 13 and you got out on your own? What happened? You know what I mean? And can you go into detail of, where you were and how did you survive at 14 years old on your own, right?
I was going to ask you that, like, what would be like the next book? What would be in the next book? Because we kind of like went so far and then jumped to like kind of, well, present day, which was present day at the time. So that's interesting that the people are interested in what you did as a teenager, and that is something that we can look at in the
I think
future.
we could do a book just on my teenage years, you know what I mean? Like on what I went through and how I survived, just like those from 13 when I left home, 13 and a half to 19 when I met my ex-husband, Richard. So 13, 19 is what,
6 years, yeah.
6 years, yeah. So in those 6
Yeah.
years, I did a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, believe it or not. And I remember all of it. I always said to somebody, my sister has spots of memory of her childhood, you know, a spot here and a spot there, blah, 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 where I remember all of it. And sometimes I wish to be my sister and not remember all of it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, I'm like, geez, you know, can I get these memories out of my brain? But then my memory served my purpose when we wrote the book.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, and it seemed like the more we talked about it, the more you remember different things. And I tried to get as much of information out from you. So yeah, that'd be kind of interesting to do a second one, a follow-up on the teen years, because I'm pretty sure there'd be people out there interested to know, because those are the hardest years sometimes, aren't they? Especially when you've had a tough childhood. Like, you start to make your own decisions, and a lot of them not good.
Very, very bad ones. Very, very bad where males are concerned.
We won't go into.
And you know what I mean? Probably made some good. I feel that I made some good decisions, like not having an abortion was okay. Yeehaw, you know what I mean? It may have hurt to do what I did, but
so and it is interesting how, like, you make decisions and then you have to live with the consequences. Sometimes decisions aren't the best. Like, sometimes bad decisions can turn into good ones, and good decisions can turn into bad ones. That's life. So yeah, I'm sure that it would be interesting to talk to you about, interview you about, and look into the next bit, next part.
And I would love, one of my dreams between here and the next 5 years would be for me and you to travel into the city of Montreal in Quebec, which is only 10 hours away. You know what I mean? We can get there in a day, get into the city. I can show you where I lived and places I went by myself, you know, and it was just me and a knife. And, you know, because it was the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So everybody, a lot of females carried a knife in their boot. And then in Morin Heights, where I had a lot of the abuse, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That type thing.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, we should, definitely think about doing something like that. So I'm going to wrap it up, though.
Yep.
And it's great to chat to you. And we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Bye.
Bye.